Welcome to the From the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's a Twitter like whore, an Instagram thirst trap, and your grandma's guilty pleasure, Beef Loaf. A West Coast attitude in a decidedly Midwest body, My Sock Summer. And your host, he's sharing obscure music thoughts to give you time to hit the bathroom, Cheesy E.
Thank you, Cornsey. Welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beef Loaf says allegedly, or that he made a video about that, you drink. If My Sock Summer mentions his time on the West Coast, or blames his kids for something, you drink. And if I fuck up the intro, or make MSS appear to be dumb, you drink. And of course, you can make all of us drink for just $1.08 or more. Hopefully more. Speaking of drinking, fellas, what are you drinking? I'm going to start with My Sock Summer. What do you got there, My Sock Summer?
Boys, I'm doing my taste right now. As you all know, I started off with the Bum single barrel release from Knob Creek, rounding out there at 120 proof. That gets the juices flowing, wakes me right the fuck up. Also, if I sip on it long enough, I don't get too drunk. And then after I'm done that, after I get done with that, I'm going to move into the 9-year Knob Creek because, you know, it's only 100 proof. So that will be taking it easy after this taste.
120 proof, man. That's a hot lead.
It's a good start. I like when he starts out like this because then the English language just clobbers him in the first 10 minutes of the show. It's my favorite. Like he's going to be immediately.
I already know that he's going to be fiery at the end.
Yeah.
And so like drunk and fiery. Oh man, that's the best MSS.
There's no
That's like 3-beer Josh Nelson, baby.
My ass.
No shit. It is.
We got a drink here from Aloha Mr. Handy says, which of you clowns were late?
Cheers.
And make MSS chug. Cheers.
Thank you, Mr.
We're just taking our time. You big
None of us were late. We were just enjoying each other's company and
That's
forgot
right.
that we had to do a show.
Just making some cheesesteaks. Treasy, we have one more in there. We're backed up one before that. So we got to get to it too because it's a very special one
man,
for My
that
Sock
is.
Summer. So.
Oh, damn. Man.
Senior Soxy says, I'll let MSS read this one because this is more.
It says, Senior Sox says, rest in peace, Jessie Jane. Tugging out one in her honor tonight. Tugging one out in her honor tonight.
Yes.
Which is, that's good. Jessie Jane, if you guys aren't
quite
familiar,
the teardrop.
She is an adult actress who is retired and then just promptly overdosed with her boyfriend and 2 other people in her house. So that sucks. She was doing a lot of drugs and fentanyl got her. So that's really sad because she was like living in Oklahoma. And I was like at the beginning of it, just like, I can't be in LA around all these people. It'll be really bad.
We don't need MSS story time on Jessie Jane, all right? Beef, what are you drinking?
He claims he didn't meet her.
He doesn't know anything about her, but here's 14 minutes on it.
Oh, no, I know her. I know a lot about her.
He knows her life story. He's just upset he never met her while she was alive. That's why you saw a little tear form in the corner right there, Treasy.
And he couldn't get on a flight to go see the corpse. Go ahead, Beef.
I got to watch my kids.
Soon enough. I'm actually drinking some tequila, some Tres Agaves. My guy Yumper got me a little Tres Agaves. I'm drinking that.
That's nice.
Absolutely delicious. I don't know if you guys seen it. Yumper, has the movie podcast. They did an entire breakdown of The Godfather, and it was fabulous. You should check it out. If you like The Godfather, he gets in real deep in the weeds on that one. So go check it out over there.
I really enjoyed that. Some of the shit was like, and so, as someone who's watched like tons of YouTube videos on it, like there was definitely shit that I had never heard. So that if you're into it, go check that out. We got another drink here, though, real quick from our guy, Taco Gladiator. Jerry says, cheers, you fine old cannibals.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Jer.
I got a new cup tonight, too. I'm using the Yeti tumbler. These things are dope.
Look at you.
It's fucking
fancy.
What
are you drinking,
What are you drinking, buddy?
God damn it. So, I'm drinking the Pulaski Pills. It's a Maplewood, Chicago Pilsner. You know me.
Great.
I'm a Pilsner guy, man. I fucking love it.
That's a good brewski.
You are a Pils. You like Pils and Pilsner.
15. I was actually thinking about that today because I saw
Dusty Jane died of pills. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, no, that wasn't even it. I saw like the bums, you know, they're doing their tournament and like the bum tournament, right? And one of the things was like tipping on pickup orders, which why the fuck is, I don't understand why that's a problem. Like, first of all, because like
that's fine. Well,
or
don't if you don't want to.
Yeah, but you're just tipping the people that made the food. Like, you're just tipping a different person who's working a job that sucks, right? And like, I've worked those jobs, right? And I was thinking about that, and I was going to post about how when I was working on tour, like in the merch booth, like we had a tip jar, and it was we always were happy to get anything in there.
I'm sure, yeah.
And I was gonna go into it a little bit, and I was like, I'm not gonna put this in print. I'll put it on video though.
That's right. No one watches this. Anyway.
The shit that would end up in there at the end of the night, like there was always. Like, so someone would drop some weed in there or something, you know, something mundane like that. But there was always like mystery pill in there. And like, depending on who you were touring with, like those would either just get thrown out, like, what the fuck is this? Or you had someone on that tour that was just like, oh yeah, give me that. Give me that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'm going to do it.
I'm pretty sure.
I was not that guy. I was not that guy. I like to be alive.
But I used to deliver pharmaceuticals when I was in college, and if it was a controlled substance, which is like a C2, which is the good stuff, the painkillers, the stuff that knocks you out, the not fentanyl, the shit that you get the patches and you would just like fucking go away. It's bagged and it's zip tied and everything, so that those pills don't just fall out on the floor. But I worked with this guy that anytime he would find a pill on the floor of the bin, he would just pop it.
Oh my god!
I'm like, that's just
terrible.
You're just playing roulette. And like, because you could be, it's not going to hurt you, but what if it's a laxative and then you're driving in the car and you got to shit your pants? Like, that's horrible. Like, and you know, that's horrible. It's not good.
You don't say.
Beef, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm good.
Now I understand why people hate me. I get it. All right, cool.
I'm good. I'm going to be brief on my banter, but I got a tease and I got a fairly decent sized announcement. Tease number one. Is Monday for the Ajou. My guy Treezy E is going to be doing it with me, and we're going to be unveiling a new sponsor for the Ajou. Not going to say right now, but we'll shoot that out there on Monday. So make sure you check into the show Monday 6 p.m. Central Time, and then the announcement. We're going to do the 108 Tourney Bracket Reveal Show Thursday, March 7th at 8 p.m. So that's when all 128 of the people in the 108 Tourney will be revealed. There'll be a long form show. We'll have guests and sponsors to be named later. But just to let you guys know that's coming, there'll be a blog post coming up with the entire schedule of the 108 Tourney. But just wanted to start, putting it out there and letting you guys know, baiting the water a little bit.
Beef, let me just say, I am very excited to spend a full hour talking aliens with you on Monday.
Oh, the fuck we are.
Man.
How dare you?
Don't be doing that. You already did that.
I already did it. So you go tune into I was on the Askcast, and so we talked aliens for like an hour. So if you want some Treezy alien talk, it won't be Monday Night with Beef, but it's out there on the internet. Go get it. Yeah. MSS, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and we're doing stupid shit tonight, and because the Sox had to scoop us. And do some stuff first. Like one of the things that I was going to use for stupidest shit, like I am going to use now for my banter. We were in the car yesterday morning and we were driving to school and we listened to B96 a lot because the girls are like, hey, B96, put on B96. So we do. And they have like the bad morning show people on and they're always putting these stupid, it's the same articles that just get recycled, every year. And they just throw it out there. And like this one was, hey, we heard up on the north side, they're thinking about canceling Valentine's Day at schools. And they were like going into it and they go to cut to commercial. And I hear in the back seat, my youngest go, I don't want them to cancel Valentine's Day. And I was like, yes, baby, they're not canceling Valentine's Day. This is a story. I go, but do you want to call in and tell them that they shouldn't cancel Valentine's Day? And she's like, absolutely. So we call B96 and we're in front of, we dropped my wife off first. And then we're in front of the older one's school. And one of us usually has to walk her into her door, but we're on hold. We get right through to B96. Yes. Amazing. Right. And we get right through and they're like, what's your name? Where are you from? I'm like, Jacob from, my Sock Summer.
Hello, Sterling.
I go from Bridgeport and he goes, what side of the city is that on? And I was like, oh, and I was like,
no.
South Side. And he's like, okay, cool. He's like, well, what do you want to say? And I go, I got a 5-year-old in the car that doesn't want you to cancel Valentine's Day. Like, she's a little upset about it. And he goes, oh, that's great. He's like, hold on, let me just check. And so he goes, yeah, they definitely want you on the air. So hold on. So we're holding, and the older one goes, you know, she always has to have somebody walk her in. Goes, Dad, you guys are on hold. I think I can walk in myself today. Okay. So I want you to make sure you get on. And I was like, okay, I'm still walking you in though, because it's icy as fuck. And if you smash your head open, I want to be right there, you know, to pick you up and make sure you're
to
okay.
video it and laugh.
Well, that too, but you know, hey. So we're rolling, we roll in and we come out, and then we're there, and the guy that's on the B96 morning show, there's 2 girls and a guy. The guy comes on, he's like, Jig up, and I was like, yep, and he's like, just get ready, we're gonna be coming on to you, we're gonna have you right on air. And I was like, sweet. So then we're going, and then we go over to the neighbor's house that we're dropping the young one off to go to school, because we carpool, because we're trying to save the earth, and plus I don't want to drive down there. And we were sitting in there, and like, I'm not lying when I say my youngest is sitting there on the edge of her seat going, Dad, I hope they pick up, because they're going to come out and then we're going to have to leave. And I want to make sure that I'm on. I'm like, you got to bring this energy if you're going to be on B96. I go, this would be the first, you know, kid in our family to be on B96, a first person. I've never been on B96. You better be good. You got to sell this. And I go, what do you hate? What are you going to miss? She's like, I'm going to miss having a party with my friends. I'm going to miss this and people giving me stuff and me giving them stuff. And I was like, yes, this is what you got to do. And so like right before they come out, they break in, and they're like, hey, My Sock Summer. Like, yes. And they're like, sorry, man, we're not gonna be able to get you on because we got to do the contest to give away.
Oh,
like,
no!
Oh, man. Okay. And so he's like, thanks for calling, though. You guys can call back anytime. And I was like, not gonna happen. So
God.
that was gonna be my stupid shit. I heard was that parents don't want to spend an extra $6 on some Valentines for their kids because, you know, they're just tired of making their kids give every other kid something. You know, you can buy a $100 fucking water jug for your kid to send them to school, or a $200 pair of fucking goddamn, you know, fucking Jordans, but God forbid.
Doesn't the Score share an office with
So I was going to bring this up. So everyone's bagging on Julian Jumpin' Perez in there. I just let you guys know, when I did Locked On with Herb Lawrence way back in the day, 2019, he walked me around and introduced me to Julian Jumpin' Perez.
Man,
I could have been nicer.
Yeah. Great to hear your fucking story. I was going to say you should have Shane punch that guy in the balls for not getting you on the air.
Come
on, man.
It was so funny. It was funny though. But you also learned a very valuable lesson that you're probably never going to get on the radio. Like, it don't matter. They're gonna tease you the whole time. So, all
right,
cheers.
We got a drink here
from
John Nava. He says, "Cheers, fellas, and happy 50th birthday to Tiffany Amber Thiessen." Yes, I used my tip for Kelly Kapowski.
Fuck
cheers
yeah,
to
good
that.
usage, John. Appreciate that.
You know who likes that girl?
Honey Hornet, if I remember correctly.
Ken W.O. likes her too, and is what Val Damone, isn't it? Val Damone or Val something from Melrose Place too? Wasn't she when she was the hoe?
She's Honey DeLume in
Honey DeLume.
Ladies Man. You know? Man, she was hot in every role.
That's a great move. That's a great movie.
Probably,
I don't know how many Oscars that was.
I like
but
Son-in-Law.
It was very good.
Treasy, what are you up to? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. So I was looking around for the stupidest shit on the internet, and I ran into this article. This is very recent, but I guess this is in Kentucky. This guy like introduced an amendment to a law, like an incest law, and like when he was doing it, he says it was by mistake. Who knows? But he removed first cousin from the list of incest.
Okay.
and like everybody's busting this guy's balls, obviously, right? Yeah. And like Kentucky, you know, you're already asking for it. So like it obviously the internet went nuts on it. But I was thinking about it and I was like, I've made, like, all of us, we all are on Twitter all the time. We've all made terrible typos, right? Like just awful typos.
Right.
Imagine making a typo that makes it legal to fuck your cousin.
Your first cousin.
Your first cousin.
Not even like weird, way away cousin. Like immediate cousin. Like, yeah.
Ooh, look at the mistake I made. That's what it feels like. Oopsie, I made a little mistake.
Someone's proofreading it and is like,
hello.
yeah, you know, there's a line missing here. I don't want to accuse you of anything, but I would like to know why your family tree has no branches. All right, I got a couple more
big
drinks.
long root.
Got one from Husky Bar. He says, cheers, fellas. Thoughts on the new Roadhouse trailer? I've not watched it. Fuck that. I don't want Roadhouse to be remade. Just put the old Roadhouse right back in theaters.
That's a good call. I think that would work good too.
It's free. You already got the movie made. Just re-release it.
Right.
People, I would go to the theater. I would go to the theater to see Roadhouse.
The new Roadhouse,
the original.
Though, it's on like Peacock though too, right? It's like
I have no idea.
Paramount Plus or something. I don't think it's actually going in the theaters. I think
it's easy. Now that I'm a big movie theater guy again, I would go with you to see that.
You go with me? All right.
That's all right. Let's do it.
Well, for that, I'll take you to the other place in the theater you went to. That's 21 and over. They got the drinks.
Vic? You go to the Vic.
Yes, I love it.
Doing that at the Vic? Or what if Ramova did that? That'd be awesome. Ramova should bring that shit back. We got another drink. It says mow the lawn, sending a drink all the way from LA. Oh, cheers.
Hey,
cheers.
Your package is on the way. And just so everybody knows, if you live out of state and you watch this and you order stuff from our thing, I will load that up with stuff you cannot get in the city or the city of Los Angeles or the state of California. You have a big package coming, and it's not mine.
Oh man,
how you doing?
Senor Sox and MSS were seeing eye to eye there. That's why he put that in there. I'm sorry. That's what MSS was trying to allude to when he was getting around the first cousins. What about way down the line though?
Well, I'm saying it's not as. But first cousin is weird.
Horny always prevails. That's all I know. Horny always prevails.
Not as weird. The third cousin, I don't think.
If you're fucking someone you met at the family party, it's fucked up. All right.
I ain't never seen my third cousins. I don't even know. I might have fucked one of my third cousins. Don't even know. Who knows?
See, now you're like, guy, this was a typo.
See where he went?
Totally a typo.
Yeah. Cannibal and willing to fuck his third cousins. That's what we know about that summer.
I might have balled one of my cousins by mistake.
My dick just fell right in. Who knew?
Yes, it might have.
Pay some bills, motherfucker.
Oh shit! Hold on, I wasn't even right. I didn't even know Wolf had already done his thing, and he did. He led right off with it. Oh man, see,
I'll edit this out later. Don't worry. all this dead air you've created, I don't think
you're not gonna do that.
Looking for a perfect way to kick off the new year? Start fresh with a brand new Mazda. Whether you're looking for a sporty sedan or a versatile SUV, Mazda has the right vehicle for you. With Mazda's signature sleek design and unmatched performance, you'll turn heads everywhere you go. And with advanced safety features like blind spot monitoring and lane departure warning, you can feel confident and protected on the road. Plus, with cutting-edge technology like Apple CarPlay and Android Audio, you can stay connected and entertained while you drive. And with Mazda's commitment to sustainability, you can feel good about reducing your carbon footprint. Visit MazdaofOrlandPark.com to get all the specs and details on the complete line of Mazda. Whether you're from the Chicagoland area, Northwest Indiana, or Southeast Wisconsin, they would love to have you visit and test drive a Mazda today. Happy New Year from your friends at Mazda of Orland Park. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Zoom Nation. 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park. 708-444-3200. Zoom Zoom.
Man, that crazy organ.
All right. We got a new play-by-play guy, John Schriffen. Welcome to the South Side. We're excited that he's going to be joining the telecast. It's going to be cool. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this, and I want to bring up something first, Beef, because I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on the internet, right? Like we had someone like tag us, and we're like, we get this bum? It's like, there's no way you know who this guy is. There's no fucking way you know who this guy is, and you're calling him a bum. So let's calm down, first of all. But
it also included
obviously
fuck Jerry. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, like all
of it. But like, you don't have to make something up. Just say fuck Jerry.
You have to call him a bum.
Whatever.
Yeah. Oh man, there's tons of reasons to say fuck Jerry.
Right. Why you gotta make something up?
obviously people have different feelings about this, and I feel like people would be more confident in the hire if we had an experienced Andrew Vaughn, Beef. And here's what I'm thinking.
Okay, let's hear it.
If you think about first base, it was like, oh, we had Frank Thomas, and man, it's sad to see Frank Thomas, but we got Paul Konerko.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sad to see Paul Konerko go. Oh, we got Jose Abreu. And we got spoiled. We're like, well, obviously the next one's going to be great. And then we got Andrew Vaughn.
Not great.
And now people are like, hey, we had Hawk Harrelson, legend, Hall of Famer.
Yep.
We replaced him with Jason Benetti. Really love Jason Benetti. And he's going to eventually be a huge national guy. It's going to be what a fabulous guy we had there. So the next guy's obviously got to be, wait a second, Andrew Vaughn happened. And now people are second guessing
Yes,
that we can continue to have good shit.
Yes.
It's a
Nice
it's a roundabout way to do it, but I'm blaming Andrew Vaughn for this too.
I can't blame you right there. I can't blame you at all. That's a great correlation because actually they did have 3 in a row because they had Harry. Harry Carey was before before the Hawk era. So you had Harry, Hawk, Jason, right? You had 3 good in a row, and then kind of similar. So you don't know what's going to happen right now with this guy, John Schriffen, but. I see the pattern you're creating there, Trezo.
Schriffen is tall.
He's tall.
Schriffen
I tried to
tall.
look up his height. He's tall for sure.
Tall.
And
Loves dogs.
you could find video of him playing basketball on YouTube too because he played in like a celebrity game and like he's like he's like taller than Clyde Drexler. It looked like so like I mean he's tall.
I mean, he was standing next to Kevin Hart, so he looked a lot taller.
Well, he looks gigantic
when
he's standing next to Kevin Hart.
That was nice. Guys, I have a little synopsis of who he is and what he used to do. You want to hear it?
I would love to.
So now he's a sports broadcaster for Chicago White Sox, but he used to he calls college sports, and KBO was the Korean baseball organization. Previously, he acted as a reporter for CBS Sports and hosted that other pregame show on CBS Sports Network. He's biracial and becomes the second black television play-by-play announcer in the MLB, joining Seattle's Dave Sims. So,
Dave Sims is awesome. Dave Sims' call of Seattle making the playoffs for the first time in like 20 years is one of the best calls ever.
We all heard
amazing.
that.
Yes, incredible.
But
call.
speaking of finding calls on the internet, I went and I was like, I want to hear his home run call.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just like put John Schriffen KBO home run. Yeah. Right? And like video pops right up, right? But it doesn't say his name in it, right? Like, so I click on it and it's all in Korean. And all I like, my first thought was like, this guy is very talented. Like, but obviously not him. But yeah, I mean, like the only thing you could find is other stuff. Him calling slam ball is fantastic. Like,
it's pretty good.
If you're not familiar with slam ball, it is a pseudo sport. It's fucking insane. I remember Beef. Just a tangent for a second. We were in Vegas when the first slam ball league started. It was like night 1 of slam ball, and it was a night where there was like almost no other sports on. So it's like we're on the West Coast, so like it's 10:30 or something, and there's like nothing else, and it's guys like it is trampolines and fights. It's guys like jumping up with it's basketball, but you could smash into each other. There's like no fouls, but there's these big trampolines all over the court, and we're like, dude, this is gonna be awesome. So we're sitting there at a bar watching this in Vegas, and like it took fucking 2 minutes into that game where a guy's leg got caught between like the trampoline and the side thing, and it just snapped in half, and we're like, I don't know if this sport's gonna last.
Trampolines are generally dangerous. They're way more dangerous for like adults that shouldn't be on shit like that and fall. Kids, it's a little better. They're like rubber. Adults being on there and snapping bones all over the place. Not great at all. One of the things I noticed here, I read the article by Merck and listened to the interview Danny Parkins did. One thing in the article, this guy came in pumping tires, baby. He's pumping tires on the, Chicago sports fans are the greatest, they're the smartest, all this stuff. Oh, there's a lot of blogs and podcasts. He's trying to get in like Flint with all this stuff. He is, in a way, sort of like the generic announcer guy that has become this era, where that's the guy you hire, except he has a way varied background. He's not a traditional path guy. Like I see, Benetti was kind of like the generic announcer guy too, but he matured out of being just generic announcer guy and created his own brand really there. This guy's a little different in the way that he got here, because it's not like he's been grinding it out in minor leagues doing a billion games. He's been doing all kinds of different media and all kinds of different sports. So it's interesting to see what his approach is gonna be when he gets in a booth full time, because he doesn't have a ton of experience doing games. I mean, what do you guys think about the fact that he's coming from a lot of different sports, from almost like so he did some sideline reporting, he did some almost like some investigative journalism stuff. Like, what do you think about that background into this role?
You want me to go or you want to go?
I was just going to say, I think it's a little bit worrisome in this particular scenario, because you have people that really loved Jason, right? Yep. I think we all really enjoyed Jason, and Jason was able to do some things like talk about analytics in a way that was very relatable. He was able to joke around and have like some, even though sometimes it was a little awkward with Steve, like it was a fun booth. If you're coming into this brand, he's not brand new. He's done KBO. He's done a lot of announcing. So he has experience, but the fact that he's coming in brand new, if he has to focus too much on just doing the main, play-by-play pieces, the just kind of going through the main functions of the job, and can't do a lot of those things, I think he's going to be criticized early for that, because you're going from someone who's just really fluid in the booth and able to react to a lot of different things and play around with stuff coming from Twitter and things like that. So you're trying to step up to something really big, and I think that he could stumble out of the gates just trying to find his way. So I hope that Steve Stone really helps in that regard. But I could see him getting criticized pretty early in the season. We'll be at the games and drunk, and so we probably won't notice. Really... But it's very possible that happens.
I think he's going to get criticized regardless. I mean, he's walking into like the lion's den here, and any little thing that he fucks up is going to be amplified, and people are going to be on him. Now, here's why I'm excited. And if you've paying attention to everything that's going on, the Sox have become pretty much unrelatable too. And you brought in a guy who's younger, who is a reporter, so he's well versed in the art of storytelling. He also knows how to go and talk to people. He knows how to get things out of people. So for listening to him on the score and listening to him in his intros, him saying, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to meet these players, I'm going to talk to these players, and he's going to talk about that player to you. And he's going to bring out these things that are interesting to him and to you. He's also versed in media, so he understands. And Jason was very good at Twitter too. But this guy's going to be making videos. He could be making videos. He'd be working with somebody else to make videos. You can exploit that and get him out there on more of a level than just, you're only going to hear me on the radio and then see my tweets from time to time, right? And I think that that's something that's been missing from the booth to a certain extent. Not that Jason wasn't doing the best that he could, but I think this guy, you don't have a COVID, you don't have those regulations. You're gonna be able to get down there with the players and actually talk to them and maybe put some stuff out there. I think it's Jason did some of that, but we're missing. We brought him up at lunch last Friday. Like, where the fuck is James Fegan? He was the personal, he's told the personal stories of these people. That is gone, right? Like, we're not getting that. Today, Merck put out that article. Yep. But then he also put out a tweet of a picture of people that are claiming to be White Sox players at a Boys and Girls Club. And he just wrote White Sox in town. That's all he wrote.
That's it. Like, he was listening to the players because he got to leave there.
It wasn't like, hey, Jason, Benintendi.
What's up, Merck?
Merck was worried he was going to make one of those first cousin typos, man.
But it would have been great if he was like, Benintendi just dunked on a 5-year-old, on a 7-foot rim or something, like put some personality into it. Like, you didn't even mention the names. You didn't do anything. It was just like White Sox in town. and we're at the Boys and Girls Club. Like, fucking Christ, bro. You're mailing that in from the strip club or something? Or what are you doing? Did somebody send you a pic? You know, it's just
he's like, I got to do this. I got to get this out in the street. That's what he's at.
So,
well, another thought I had, guys, we've watched the clips. We don't know John Schriffen's work well. We're just picking off little things. And he's self-proclaimed that he's very high energy and like almost fan-like. And when you hear some of the clips that are out there, you automatically think he hits one of Jason's weaknesses extremely well, and that's the big call. And there's a bunch of big calls that he does.
The XFL one.
It's insane, right? It's like, oh my God, like when something huge happens for the White Sox, this guy's going to absolutely nail it.
Yeah.
The only real question, I think, for me, as far as like right starting out, is most of the game is the parts that Jason was great at, which is all the mundane shit while you're waiting for something big to happen. He was terrific at that. He was great at making that 3 hours go by and entertaining you in a variety of different ways. And he was good at engaging with the fans and everything. So I'm curious to see like what approach this guy takes with that, because that's mostly the job, right? In football, you have a little more, there's high octane plays, and in between the plays, you're like, it's this yard marker, this thing, whatever. You don't have as much of that in between pitches or kind of in between at bats in baseball where you got to reiterate the information. So I'm curious to see what happens there.
Yeah, and when you think about a lot of his experience being these, like these quick hit sideline reports, right? Like that's not filling up 3 hours.
No,
right?
Not at all.
And like I think to MSS's point, like it will be good for him to go and get the knowledge of all these players and be able to talk to that. That'll help through some of that, right? And hopefully he's doing that with the opposing team too, and like he could just give you a lot of information throughout the game. But yeah, that's going to be the test. That's going to be the test for him. These games, they're shorter than they used to be, but they're still fucking long. So like I think I'd like to see it, but I agree with you that I feel like if we want an exciting call, if something crazy happens, like he's got it. You just can't get like too much into that. Like you see like Gus Johnson clones that come out and it's like a grounder to the shortstop and they're screaming. Yeah. Right? Like you gotta watch how often you do it. It's it's like a musician, right? Like you can't solo just constant. Right? Like you gotta build up to it. So I mean, unless you're Joe Satriani, but no one.
I was going to say, wait a second. I think there's some of those guys.
Steve
Satch and Vi. No one's listening to them. No one listens to them. So like I think that's going to be he's going to have to find balance. I think this is the perfect year for this guy to join the team because they're probably going to be bad, right? It's going to be low viewership, all this stuff. And he's going to have to work out everything, right? Like, I don't think he has, unless that was truly him speaking Korean. He doesn't have a home run call that I know of yet. So, and if it is, man, he can really change up the pitch on his voice too.
Treasy, even just the way to tee up Steve, because I remember early Benetti, right? Early Benetti, he was very deferential to Steve. It took a few years before they worked cohesively together, and there was a back and forth with that. And I kind of expect that to happen here too, but unfortunately, like they don't have the time here. I don't know how long Stoney's going to be doing this, and he's got to help this guy along a lot because one thing that he mentioned, and I don't know if it was the interview or whatever, is like talking about, they were asking him like how many games he's going to do or whatever, and he was saying like, he's committed to doing this, as many games as possible. And in a way he has to because he's a neophyte at doing baseball compared to other people who get this job. He just hasn't done as many baseball games. And so he's going to have to really get in there and absorb. And he's going to have to hope that Stoney works with him. What do you think, MSS?
He's saying all the right things right now. And he did say that on the score. He said, I am going to throw it to Steve a lot because Steve is the smart guy in the booth. He is one of the best pitchers ever. And like he's amped, and he said that Pedro got him amped for this team, and I was like, this motherfucker's lying already, and he's like getting right in there. He's doing what he's got to do. He's selling this.
Someone
and that's what
poked him and said, "Don't say that. Don't mention Pedro."
Yeah. He also I don't know if he knows what Jerry's name is because he's like, I flew to Phoenix and I met with the owner, and like he didn't say Jerry's name, and they're like, Probably shouldn't say.
Maybe he's just really smart. Knows not to say Jerry's name because it elicits bad responses.
It was a great interview on the Score, even though those guys sounded like they were interviewing their PE math teacher, because they didn't really put it in there, and like there was no energy, and he had all the energy. So I don't know if it made because of their lack of energy, or he was just so high energy that he made them seem unenergetic, but it was like, come on, guys.
I love Danny, but Danny kept it professional. But you could tell Danny's like, this is the guy taking my buddy's job, kind of thing. Like, I'm going to keep it professional, but let's move it along, and get this over with.
Because he made the same joke that was made 700 times today when John talked about food, and they put all the food in the video, and 800 people said, "Don't eat in the booth." Don't eat in the booth.
All
and
right,
then Danny
hold on.
regurgitated the same fucking thing.
I gotta throw this out. I gotta throw this out here because, like,
go ahead.
I get people love Jason, and I love Jason's telecast.
Yeah,
but the food thing, people getting mad about that, you're all full of shit. Because you know that if you were on a Zoom meeting at work, and the person that called that meeting was chomping on a fucking cheeseburger, you'd be messaging everyone else in that meeting what the fuck is wrong with Jim? This motherfucker's eating a hamburger while he's trying to talk to us? This fucking asshole, what a slob. Like, you would be saying all of those things. So don't tell me that, like, the guy that's calling your game and his pictures on television, you want him chomping on food. Like, I get it. You like Jason. You want Jason to still be here. Me too. Like, I love Jason, but it's fine that they're like, it's not a great idea. Eating while you're talking.
Yeah, or serving you or doing something for you as a service. Like, I don't want a guy changing my oil and eating and like giving me something, like giving me the receipt. Like, I don't need to see that. Fucking take a break, bro. You need that.
Sam says those are the best segments because Steve would refuse to eat anything. Yeah, Steve looked at the food like whatever's going on right now is disgusting. I don't want to.
Not to mention, how many times did they try and hand? How many times did they try and hand Steve pork? What the fuck? All right, we got a trick from Nathan Shiva. He says, despite having fewer ex-followers than From the 108, I'm all in. He loves dogs. Why not? It's a total rebuild. Cheers, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thanks, bud.
And to expound on that a little bit, right? Like, I think the interesting thing, and Beef, to your point, like, the guy doesn't have a lot of experience doing this, but out of the candidates that were out there, only one of them has that XFL call. Right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, I want to show people this to say, this is the guy. This is the guy we got. Right. Or, some of the slam ball calls, right? Like, those are out there. Those are like, okay, this guy is exciting. So maybe he doesn't have it all refined, and maybe he doesn't have a lot of experience doing that. But the upside of having a guy who could get you as excited as Hawk did on a home run,
right,
or on a fucking foul ball that was almost a home run, right? Like we have been kind of missing that as a fan base. Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to, the way that they juxtaposed Hawk with Benetti, right? Like, when I think at the point that Hawk left, we were all kind of getting a little tired of
people had enough of
the bit. Yeah. And then you go like, we're going to get a totally different type of guy in here. And Benetti was that, and we loved it. And now Benetti's leaving, and you get a guy who's going to be way more energy than Benetti. So, like, I see where they're going with it. It's an experiment, and we're gonna see how it plays out. But, like, you know me, I'm a gambler, man. I want the high variance, man.
Yeah,
give me the guy that might be great, right? Don't give me the guy that we know is just good.
Yeah,
like that's the even money bet right there. You're good, No, I want the plus 600, man.
Let's hit something big, or we have nothing. We got
exactly
I like that approach better.
And to wrap this all up, I'm reminded of the quote that I read today. And it says, if you can call slam ball, you can call anything. And folks, that was from the great Vin Scully. So, I mean, we're on the right path, and we're moving in the right direction. Because if you can call that game, as Vin said, you can call anything.
Boys, before we get out of here, I have a couple questions about this upcoming season and John Schriffen, and see what you think may happen in this season. So a few things. Number one, Which White Sox player's name is the first one that he screws up during a broadcast? He's gonna make a mistake, right? Someone.
Yeah, he calls Benintendi Benetti right out the gate.
Teresa, what do you think?
I would say Eloy right off the bat because like it's gone between Eloy and Eloy so many times. I don't know which one. He's definitely gonna fuck it up. But no, I think I think Paul DeYoung.
DeJong?
I think Paul DeYoung because I feel like everybody fucks that guy's name up.
Yeah.
And so like that's the one that I think he'll fuck up because also he's gonna be like, this guy ain't gonna be here long. I'm not learning this name.
I think it's gonna be Martin Maldonado because MSS sure is fucking insane. All right, next question. How many games?
I have not fucked up this guy's name, which is kind of amazing.
How many games until a long, awkward silence between him and the Stone Pony?
Right out of the gates. First game.
I was gonna say game 5. When I say long, awkward, I mean a pause of at least like 3 seconds. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, where it was like a joke, and then nothing happens for that long. That's kind of. I'm thinking like game 5, Teresa. I think pretty soon.
Game two. I actually think game 2 because I think like game 1, it's gonna be like all the anticipation, everything's gonna be on that one. He's gonna have a great game for that. But then like you get into game 2, and it's like, all right, we're good, and then it's like, oh shit. I should have prepared a little bit more because right now me and Stoney are just looking at each other like, what the fuck? And this guy's trying to serve him a big pulled pork sandwich.
I'm gonna go with game 2. I would say game 1, the first like road trip, the first game in a road trip. Like
okay,
yeah, I think
that's kind of where I'm at too because
he's gonna be excited. He's going to be excited. Be a lot of things to talk about. He's just going to keep going. He's also said he's not a comedian. He knows to stay in his lane and not do that.
Right.
So he at least knows his limitations, which is good.
Allegedly. We'll find out. We'll find out if he actually does. So
we'll see.
Beautiful.
But I think
will he mention Section 108 this year?
No. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that he's gonna. I think so. I think he's going to get...
Let's do it, Treasy. Let's bet some more pizzas.
Pizza bet right here. Let's go.
I'll bet you a hot and ready on this.
Just one. Let's just do one.
I'll bet you because this we would actually pay off.
Put some crazy bread in there, bitches.
No. Beef because I could pay this. I could pay this on a day that we do a Sunday soak and then we come back to your place afterwards. Punky's Old Neighborhood. I'll bet you a Punky's Old Neighborhood.
There you go.
Okay.
That
good.
By the time we do the last Sunday soak of the season, he has not said our name.
Oh man, I was going to give you better odds. I was going to give you better odds than that, but I will take those. I'll take that. I was going to say before the All-Star break, we are going to get a 108 mention. So
I'll take it.
All right. No, you said by the last Sunday.
No, I heard the new odds and I took it.
I'm like, I'm good.
The line shifted. I took
you
it.
smashed.
I'm actually upset we didn't get mentioned right out the gate. I think we should have been in that Merck article. I mean, when he's like,
I think he's going to see White Sox Twitter and be like, you know what? No thanks.
He's going to keep his distance from it.
It took a little bit of time for Jason to recognize us. We made him really nice signs that we colored on your kitchen table of.
Yes, absolutely.
Me and Bonita did. And I don't think he got to us right away, but he did get to us, that following spring training. Because I think he had Brooks in the booth, and Brooks brought us up, and then they started talking about it. So I think that we're going to be, I think we're going to get it before the All-Star break. But I'll take the year-long bet, Treasy. Thank you.
All right,
last All-Star break.
Last one. First Chicago thing that he absolutely butchers. So just the Chicago thing could be any absolute Chicago thing. And as an example, I love ketchup on my hot dogs.
Yeah,
could be a Chicago thing that he says that he likes. What's the Chicago thing he's going to fuck up? Kind of the first one that you notice.
Well, I think the ketchup thing is probably going to be that this is too easy of a trap to fall into. But he also has talked about, Chicago's bad for me because I come in here and I got to have deep dish. And that's people hate that.
That's not a faux pas though.
It's not a faux pas. But cranky people are like, oh, fucking tourist. Yeah, he lives in Vegas. We get it.
So I watched some video of him today, and I think that the first thing that he's going to mess up will be during spring training. It'll be mundane, but I think he'll try to compare New York's St. Patrick's Day to Chicago's, which
okay.
will light a fire under half the city's ass.
Yeah, that'll
like people will be upset when he talks about it. Like, because he'll it'll be coming up, or it'll be during spring training, and if he mentions something about it, like, oh man, you got to see how crazy they get in New York for St. Patrick's Day, Stoney will be like, ooh, maybe you want to sit this one out.
Now we're getting some of them in here. Brewhead Luke says he won't know how to pronounce Jardinera. John Nava says he calls it the Willis Tower. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I was thinking he's gonna mispronounce Rickabenny's and call it Rickabeans. He's gonna say he had the steak sandwich from Rickabeans. I'm predicting that it's gonna be some sort of mispronunciation of a local restaurant. So there's my questions on John. I'm all
right.
Good.
Well, I think that the next thing we got to talk about is this. We're gonna get back to like some actual baseball White Sox talk, a little of our favorite White Sox talk.
I love White Sox talk.
That's a big blowout.
The Zips projections came out, and I mean, obviously, I don't want to break news, but the Sox are going to be bad.
Yes.
But I wanted to talk to you, Beef, particularly, and MSS, feel free to jump in wherever you want here.
I'll get in where I fit in. As
exactly.
Was a wise man once said. Yes,
sir.
Exactly. We're going to talk about what's going on with the team and
That's right.
and what everything looks like from Zip projections. But Beef, give me one thing that jumped out at you, and we'll go back and forth about 3 times or so. One thing that jumped out at you about these projections.
Absolutely. So people don't know, the projections will do like sort of a 50th percentile projection. That's basically the median. That's where most likely they think are going to land, with some error bars around that. But these projections also show like 80th percentile if shit goes really well for you. You know, not a perfect season, but way above average. And then 20th percentile if things really shit hits the fan for you. The White Sox had a lot of 20th percentiles last year. If you couldn't, I mean, from you watching it, you knew that they did this. So I was looking at the 80th percentile projections, and for Andrew Benintendi and Paul DeJong's 80th percentile projections, Andrew Benintendi, 2.6 WAR, Paul DeJong, 2.3 WAR. What this means is that the upside of our highest paid player is only 13% higher by WAR than the guy we just found on the street basically for free, where Treasy's like, they didn't have to give this guy a major league contract. They could have fucking brought him in on a minor league deal. When people say, oh, a lot of Chris Getz's moves lack upside, fuck, the guys that were already here are the ones lacking upside, and Benintendi might be one of them. So what do you guys think about that? I thought it was wild, and yes, shortstops can generate WAR by the defense, but still, Benintendi has got to be better than that when he has a huge freak year.
So I at least like that it's honest about what his freak year looks like.
Yeah.
As you're looking at it, and like this is something that I was thinking about. If an Benintendi fantastic year, right? Like what it looks like is what we saw in a small sample of him leading off.
Yeah,
and he'll be the leadoff hitter this year, most likely,
for sure.
In that small sample, his on base percentage was great. And the 80th percentile here, I believe they have him at like a 370 OBP. Could you imagine him leading off with a 370 OBP? That would be fantastic.
It'd be terrific.
And he all of the bad in that is going to come from his fielding, right? Like that's what's going to bring down that. So like I'm fine with that. But yeah, Beef, when you go the highest paid player in your team's history,
it's like
and you're like two and a half
win player.
Man, I hope he gets on base a lot. Like that. That's fucked up.
Take some walks, dummy. That's basically it. That's your role now.
Yeah, because you're really looking at it and going like, all right, I've given up on the chance of him hitting home runs. Just please get on base. Just please get on base. That's not what you want out of the biggest expenditure you've ever had.
Now, allegedly on Twitter today, I think it was Merck in his tweet thread, Benintendi's put on some weight. He's been lifting and he's been eating a bunch. So we'll see what kind of Benintendi shows up. Well, maybe he's a powerhouse. I don't know, but
worked great for Lucas Giolito. So we
exactly.
I don't know.
I just imagine MSS. I imagine the Stewie Griffin when he's on steroids, like the little.
Yes. I don't know much, but I know that putting more weight does not help you move someplace quicker. and the guy's bad at his jumps are just horrible. Like he does not ever get a good read. He does not get a good jump on anything. So speed is what helps him catch up to like not fuck up a play. So extra weight, not usually a good thing in those things. Like he's got to get those fucking shoes that used to be able to get, to make you jump higher with the platforms on the front.
Strength shoes, baby.
Yeah, so you can start jumping. Those, yeah. You can start going. Hey, can he borrow them? You think he can borrow? I don't think he's a size 14.
I'm going to assume my shoes, my 15s are a little too big for him. So
that's the secret to calves, I guess, huh? Those strength shoes. All right.
Allegedly. Yeah. Chorizo, what observation did you have from the zips when you're looking at it?
So the one thing that I noticed, or one of the things that I noticed, was if you look at the kind of the 50th percentile projection that they have for Eloy and Kopech, they just give them a mulligan on last year. They just like basically go right back to 2022 projections, and they're just going to do what they did in 2020. This was don't worry about last year. Is basically what these projections say, and like I need to worry about last year. I sat through all of that. It was horrible
last year,
right? Like so I think we've got to. I'm not confident in that projection. And with those two guys, if it's bad and you're giving them the amount of plate appearances and pitching appearances that it looks like they're going to get by the way that this roster is constructed, it gets bad real fast. And so if you look at the 20th percentile on those guys, like, man, that could happen. That could happen, and that's a nasty look. So like that's one thing that like really stood out to me.
Treasy, I'm glad you brought this up because the Eloy, if you look at his 80th percentile and his 20th percentile, mix those in. That's his last like 5 seasons. He's done either of those. He's done his 80th percentile roughly twice, 2020 and then 2022, and then the other 3 years he's done. He's injured or whatever. He's done the 20th percentile. So you don't know what. I think that's why they did that with him. It was like, we don't know. Maybe he won't get hurt. Maybe he will. But this is kind of what it's going to look like when he shows up.
But it shows the volatility of those two guys, right? And like the fact that like if you're constructing a roster and you have two guys that are that volatile, the places that they have them positioned right now, terrible. Like you're talking like number 3 pitcher. Yep. And you're DH, and you're like, anything could happen. It's not great.
Now, am I reading this chart correctly? Robert Jr. is going to be our best player on the team, according to projections. Our second best player.
That already happened. That is already the truth.
Shit. There we go. Second best player, though, on the team is Yohan Moncada. That's what they're projected to be the
position player.
Position player.
Okay, position player. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, but who else is up here that's going to be better?
Cease.
Well, okay, but I understand. But I'm talking about offensively. Yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna. Okay, how does that?
Go ahead, Amos.
But no. How does that work out? Like what? So I understand. So like he'll be better offensively or better defensively. Pitcher than Moncada will be offensively as a position player. That's kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just their overall value to the team.
Yeah, it's their value. Yeah. It's the difference between them and a replacement player coming in, right? If you just throw any replacement level pitcher in, Dylan Cease is 3 wins better than that person is what they're saying. And so and Yohan is 2 because and you've seen it, right? Because you see when a guy who is not as good of a fielder as Yohan at third, how brutal that gets, right? That side of the infield, a lot of defense goes into it because if you can't field the position, it gets nasty real fast on that side of the diamond. That's why when you look at Adrian Beltre going into the Hall of Fame, like his defensive run saved is insane because he was such a good fielder at third base.
And that's concerning to me because Vaughn, I would hope that Vaughn would be similar.
We'll get to him in a second.
And we need that.
Actually, Beef, let's go ahead. I think if you're going to talk Vaughn, jump in.
I'm going to talk Vaughn because Andrew Vaughn's projected OPS plus, and this is just your composite batting, so 100 is average. His OPS plus projected here for 2024 is 113. Not only would that be a career high, but it's also the lowest projection for him that I can remember since he became a full-time player. So two things are at play here. Number one, basically everyone has come around on the fact that AV is either mid or bad, and B-Floaf was right all along. And number two, he's probably going to have a monster fucking year just to throw it all back in doubt for us.
God, I hope
so. Like, I can almost predict it coming out of the gate. Like, Tracy, what do you think about, like, the downfall of his projections? His projections now are starting to say, I think we know what you are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the projections are looking at it and going like, the home run power is not there, and so the highest, even the high projections on your home runs aren't first base high projections,
right? And
since you provide no value defensively, the market's adjusted. They're going that this is what it is. Yep. Now that we've beaten him down into the fucking ground. It wasn't hard. He was only 5'6" to start with, but like,
hello.
But the guy, there's nothing stopping Andrew Vaughn other than Andrew Vaughn from coming out and hitting a bunch of home runs. So if he were to do that, he's the guy. If you look at this, there's two guys that I really see that could fly past the projections that Zips has provided. Vaughn is one of them. Vaughn can way exceed that if the power shows up. It might not. He might be a 15 to 20 home run guy his whole career, and that's just what he is. Or guy hits 30, 35 home runs out of nowhere, and those projections get blown out of the water. So I think he's one of two guys. If you don't mind, I'll jump to the guy that I was like a little bit surprised at his projections, and that's Dylan Cease. And I think if you're a person that's been saying like Dylan Cease needs to be traded like he's a ace of a rotation, these projections do not support that. His 80th percentile projection barely exceeds what he had last year. Like, I think he was like a 3.7 WAR last year. This is like his 80th percentile is 4.1.
Yeah.
Right? And his median is like 3.2, I think. So like 3.2 WAR is worse than, like, they expect regression from the Dylan Cease that we saw last year. Now, that might be the case. Maybe the league's figuring him out. Maybe it doesn't seem to have the control that we hoped that he would have. But also, we've seen Dylan Cease be awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, he could do that again. There's nothing really stopping him except what's in between the ears and his control. And if he puts it together like he did 2 years ago, he blows this 80th percentile out of the water. And so, like, that's kind of what the other guy that I see that, like, maybe he is what he is. And maybe the market's adjusted and this is what Dylan Cease is. Maybe Vaughn is like that. Or maybe, they had a shitty year last year.
Yeah,
like
could just be.
Everybody's had that. Like, even if it's not like a place that you quit, everyone's had that glut at work where you're just like, man, fuck this place, right? And you're just like, you're down and like you're not working well. And so, like, I think, everyone had that last year because they lost 101 games.
Yeah.
Right? Guys that were supposed to be able to go to the playoffs lost 101 games. So, yeah, they should have at least some kind of dead cat bounce from this. And if you're predicting regression, there's also a chance that doesn't happen and the guy's just way better than he was last year.
He lost all his buddies, too. He's like, Giolito gone.
Who knows if they were buddies?
Lopez gone. Well, I'm just going to assume they were buddies.
I think it's a bad assumption. Like,
you're right.
That clubhouse doesn't seem that functional.
He wasn't down there drinking with them. Kopech was there and Lance Lynn was there in Cincinnati. So, yeah, maybe he was not liked either. Maybe he was upstairs with Vaughn growling at people too.
Tracy, I think with Cease, there's an upper bound to how far projections go unless you have been consistently a superstar. Yeah. And so like a 3 WAR pitcher is still a very good pitcher, and most teams would take it. I think there is a disconnect in the marketplace, but I think that's just the White Sox saying we're not going to settle for anything less than some number until they get to the point where they have to give in on that number, until they have to, cry uncle on that shit. So I think there is that, but
Beef, I get that, right? And I get the way the projections work, and like you shouldn't expect. Like I did not go in this expecting Dylan Cease to have some wild 80th percentile, like a 6 or 7 WAR.
Yeah,
right. But I think what I'm saying is, like, if I'm predicting a guy to exceed the expectations that the models have put out, Dylan Cease is a guy that I would bet on to do that. I would say, you know what? If there was like a like really nice odds on that dude, let's say leading the league in strikeouts or something, right?
Seems doable.
I'll bet it.
Yeah,
I'll bet that shit. Like that's the kind of thing.
You need that.
If he's 80-1 to win the Cy Young, I might throw a few bucks on it.
You're in.
I think that's a good bet.
All right, my last one, Treasy, and it's just a ray of sunshine here. When I saw this, it made me so happy because this is a guy that is kind of flown under the radar for a long time, and the prospect hounds really love this guy and have loved this guy for years because he has actually produced in the minor leagues, and the production now is starting to show up in the Zips projection, and that's Christian fucking Mena. All right, his Zips projection, especially his F4, is second out of pitchers that are actually here for the White Sox. That's right. All the guys that they signed that are likely to be in the rotation, they predict this guy to actually be better than all of those guys. The only other guy besides Cease that's ahead of him is Mike Clevenger, who I don't think is going to end up signing back here. He's only 21. He doesn't have a disgusting fastball, but they project him to be that back of the rotation guy. They give him 123 innings. It's only a 91 ERA plus, but it's 1.3 wins. You know what? I'll take it because there's been a lot of promise built on the back of we have a coggle of pitching in the minors right here. And so to see at least one of them pop a little bit and look like serviceable major leaguer if you plugged them in tomorrow makes me really happy. It makes me like, okay, maybe there's not a lot of growth for Christian Mena there, but if he became like just a solid 2-win number 5 starter, that's a great find. I'm sorry. And it got me excited to see. I was like, baby, let's go. Let's go with this.
And the back of the bullpen is, the back of the rotation is just a crapshoot, right? Like, so, like if
it's wide open, baby.
If you could pull something in and go like, this is a 2-win guy sitting in the number 5 slot. That's awesome. That's awesome. You look at some of the guys that might be in that slot, like you're very happy with that. You're very happy with that.
Last one, Chorizo.
So this is something, and this is maybe not so much on the actual projection of like what they'll do as a pitcher, but this is something that I've been seeing. Roster Resource has this, and then this kind of insinuates this as well, that Brebbia is going to be the closer. Like if you look at the innings pitched that they're projecting out of Santos versus Brebbia, the only pitching 44 innings versus Santos pitching 68 innings.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's definitely smoke around him being already anointed the closer.
Yeah.
And that
Santos your best reliever. You use him in the highest leverage spot, and that guy closes the game.
So this beef. Here's where I'm looking. I like the forward thinking that it seems Brian Bannister's bringing, right? And so one of two things is happening here. One, they're going to use, just like you said, they're going to say, Santos is our best guy in the bullpen. There's no reason that he's only saved for this particular role. We're going to use him all over the place. We got a high leverage out we need. He's the guy to get it. And I love that. I think that that's a great, like, not enough teams do that. Yeah. Not enough teams do that. Or, let's remember that Gregory Santos was with the Giants. Maybe he's not the guy they want. And maybe the things that Keenan Middleton was saying about him is actually not appreciated by the team. And I'm going to throw it out there. I think Santos is moved before the season starts.
Wow, that's huge.
And I think that would be a very interesting move to make because there's tons of control. He had a really good year last year, and you're not paying him anything. you could get a nice return for a guy like him.
Yeah.
Especially as the entire relief pitching field dries up. Like Hector Neris is like it left, right? Like you could get 57-year-old David Robertson.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, someone got him today. I think it was the Rangers.
did he go today?
I think
Okay,
so.
yeah.
I think,
and so
I think
like
it was Passon had mentioned that. I believe it was.
I was predicting he was going to go to the Cardinals because they've got every old pitcher that is available. So, but even then, Beef, the mark's even thinner for relievers. It's a good time to trade one, and I don't know. There's a feeling to that. I'm good with either. I'm good with either way that goes. But it definitely seems like it's going that way. And these projections, the way Roster Resource has it set up, encouraged me about that.
Really? I was going to say, I thought Santos had a good projection, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah,
he
Santos does. And I think Santos' main issue in the past was control. And then this past year, the data was saying that, like, he was getting a lot of swinging strikes in the zone. He was getting his swinging strikes out of the zone, obviously, but the control looked like it had been kind of, now the relievers shit falls out or whatever.
Beef,
but like,
I'm not saying that his projections weren't good or that he's going to be good. I'm saying like selling a reliever at the top.
Yeah,
I'm down, or using him only in high leverage. I'm down. Like
Also
I like
down.
either one of those scenarios.
you're going to Raylo him to death.
Hey,
It's a hell of a way to die.
hey, that guy got 3 and 30 after that.
Yeah,
Right?
He's a starting pitcher now, right? Allegedly.
Oh, God. This is crazy money everywhere these days.
Beef,
God damn it.
The only other things that I was noticing a little bit is that, like, and this is always with Zips, you know, they always do this for prospects, but like you're looking at a half year of Brian Ramos and a half year of Colson Montgomery.
Yeah.
We had talked extensively about the fact that, like, one thing we thought Chris Getz was doing was blocking a lot of these guys on purpose so that they have time to develop. Zips is like, nope.
They're coming. Yep.
They're
Welcome
coming
to
up.
Chicago.
They're coming up.
Hope you like deep dish pizza.
You'll be here soon. Go out to dinner with
said-
John Schriffen.
Yeah, take John Schriffen over to Rico Beans.
They said, "Oh, Charlotte Knights, you thought you were going to get $100 million for that team? Maybe not."
Rico Beans.
Beef, any closing thoughts on?
No, the last thing that I saw in there that I thought was hilarious is your guy, Eric Fetty. They projected him as if he never went to Korea and pitched well. They projected him as the same bullshit pitcher that he was with the Nationals before he left. Fucking innings eater and garbage guy. So I'm interested to see how it turns out. Like, it was like the model said, oh, the KBO thing, that never happened. We'll just throw this out of here. It's absolutely a
That
zero.
shit there?
Because the year they have him projected for is like his last year with the Nationals. I'm looking at it, I'm like, did Dan Zaborski just copy the last year from the Nationals and just throw it into the model? I have no idea, but that's what it fucking looks like. It's so funny.
Well, you know what? That's actually an interesting question. Beef is what are the inputs, right? Because is something like KBO even considered, or is it considered the same as him going down to AA and pitching that well?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right,
I don't know how it's weighted. Like, I'm sure it is considered, but I don't know how he weights the things.
You never know if it is considered.
Oh no, it is considered because obviously he has projections for guys that are coming from other leagues. So
Sure.
it has to be considered. Like, it's a piece of the pie. But it's interesting. Like, how do you weight that? The guy stinks here for 5 years, goes somewhere else, is absolutely phenomenal, and then comes back immediately. Like, how do you like? It's tough to weight.
Yeah, you think about it. Like, you probably have those things segmented, right? Like,
Yeah.
you would say that, like, obviously major league experience, like what did they do in the major leagues is the most important, and you probably you adjust for that if it's a very small sample size, but like AAA probably exceeds what you would give for the Japanese league, and
that's
Japanese league exceeds what you would get for KBO. So it might just be a blip, like it's non-existent in the overall model because there's so much major league data for him.
That's true, but like a AA player with 200 innings and those kind of numbers would be like the number one prospect in baseball. They'd be rushing that motherfucker.
If that's all he had.
Yeah, if he wasn't 30, like
Right, yeah, like, but if you have enough of the data that you're weighting everything towards being like the major league data, it might not move the needle to be good in there. So it's something to think about. And maybe Dan, maybe adjust the model, man. What the fuck?
Turn our guy up.
Yeah, tune him up. Let's get an override on this model. Let's give him a little push. One more. My Sox Summer.
Yeah.
You want to pay some bills, man?
Why not?
In 2024, every Friday is Friday at Lawrence's. Lawrence's is kicking off the new year with a fantastic offer that will make your taste buds swim with joy. Every Friday in January, get a free order of fries when you order any of their fish. Not familiar with the fish menu? You have several options to choose from. Whitefish chips, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fillets, sliced into bite-sized pieces, breaded in-house, and cooked to order. Catfish strips, farm-raised but full lake flavor catfish, coated with a homemade cornmeal breading. Ocean perch, mild, sweet, and lean fillets of ocean perch prepared in-house daily. Crunchy cod, sustainably sourced Atlantic cod fillet nuggets, and a light, slightly sweet breading. Or join the catfish cult with the whole, bone-in, headless, breaded, and fried catfish, prepared fresh daily. Turn your Friday into Friday tomorrow. Stop by one of Lawrence's 4 locations today. Check them out at chicagoshrimp.com and place an order if you're on the go. Lawrence's Fisheries, serving the seafood you crave since 1950.
Oh, baby.
Good
We
stuff.
had a great lunch at Lawrence's on Friday.
Yes, sir.
We did.
We did. Absolutely.
That was awesome, man.
There's no question.
I had not had the clam strips.
I enjoyed them.
That-
I will
that's-
get those again. Yeah,
That's something that I'm going to go back to. That's something I'm going to
there's
go
no
back
question.
to. It
And
was
freshly fried clam strips.
oh, man.
Delicious.
Yeah, those were awesome.
Anything you
guys-
throw in a fryer that you get almost immediately, best goddamn thing ever.
As long as it's not too hot, like you're burning your hands, you got
Yes.
a little bit coolness, but then you get it in there.
Oh,
For
man.
sure.
Delicious.
You guys, we're going to do one of my favorite segments now. The stupidest shit we've read on the internet this week or seen on the internet, whatever.
Yep.
I'm going to start with me. I'm gonna go first because I had this for last week. And I really wanted to get into it. And if you're listening to the podcast, don't worry. I'm going to describe what's happening in the video as we go through it. So you see here, there's like one of those bobcats, and it just rolls by a cop car, and you're like, okay, that's nothing. And then you see, oh shit, it's turning around. Like it's fucking maximum overdrive. Well, what's going to happen here? And he just slams into the cop car. And it's like, oh my God, was that a mistake? And then he smashes down on the cop car. And you're like, that was not a mistake at all. And then he starts rolling off. And you're like, okay, well, he's done now. No, he turns back around.
Round
and
2,
starts
let's
coming
go.
at the cop. And like the cop was smart because he was like, I'm getting out of this car. And guess what? I'm pulling my gun on you. And so the shit ended there. But apparently this dude, he smashed into a liquor store. He smashed into some cars. And like, he's obviously arrested, right? And like, and when I was reading about this, they were like, we don't know the motive. But based on the booking details, we do know that it was his 37th birthday.
Oh, yes. Have a day, my friend. Hell yeah.
So I cannot stress this enough to you people. When you see someone post and they're like, what are these balloons for? Just wish him a happy birthday. We don't need this to happen. All right? They throw the Venmo up, give him a couple bucks. All right? We don't need people stealing bobcats from their boss and rolling into cop cars and smashing them up and then more importantly, smashing up the liquor store. The liquor store is an important public service that we have out there.
It's like a church to us.
We don't need that, man. And we don't like. Could you imagine coming out like you come out of like the fucking Walmart and you look at your car and it's just been demolished by a bobcat. Like you would be like, what the fuck happened? How did this happen? There's nothing around.
Where did this come from?
Like, there's nothing around. It's like, did the fattest motherfucker sit on my car? What happened? How did this go down? And so yeah, so just wish people a happy birthday. All right, Joey P's right. OSHA would not approve of what happened there. So that's my stupidest shit. I don't know what you guys think about that one.
Absolutely.
Man.
Well, I love that video, even if I knew nothing about what's going on there, because for whatever reason,
Where
like
was
the
that?
Bobcats just roll it, and
Like,
then it rolls
it's like
back,
Nebraska.
and it's like takes the shovel part and just bam, like smashes the car. It's like, wow, there's something going on here. So, some
It looked like a transformer. Like the guy's
It did
like,
a little
"I'm gonna
bit,
get
right?
you." Like
Yeah.
or a GoBot, because it's a Bobcat, so it's a littler guy, you know.
Press asked, is he forklift certified? So he was obviously certified to drive that because he stole it from his employer. So like, it definitely knew how to drive it. I'm sure that his boss was like sitting there on a Sunday afternoon having a beer, watching some shit, and like they breaking news, and his fucking Bobcat's out there slamming into a cop car.
What a great
Crazy.
Sunday. Before we get on to the next one, Treasy, it looks like we got a little
Oh
drink
shit!
action here
Sorry,
from,
I'm behind.
Joey
I'm
P.
behind.
No,
I'm
no
not paying
worries.
attention.
No
I was
worries.
so excited by that Bobcat crushing a cop car. Cheers, Joey.
Joey P
Says
said Southside Bum says cheers. Yeah, well, Southside Bum claiming couldn't
Don't
get
even
the
have
super chat to
$5.
work. And people in the chat are saying he's broke. He's got no money left. He just moved to Bridgeport. Maybe it's. And then I also heard that he's a big Polecats guy, and he used to get the punch card at Polecats. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe right now.
Oh my God,
That back room will clear out your credit card, my friend.
There's no question. Yeah. So Venmo, save Johnny. Save Johnny. This weekend they're going to be at. Where's the bar they're going to be at on the north side, Trezo? You're
Country Club, right?
Country Club.
I'll be up there.
They
I'll
got a
be
little
up
event
there.
up there. Head up
I
there
think
and
I'm gonna
give
roll
Johnny
up there,
$5.
too.
You know.
I think I'm gonna go up there also with
Wonderful.
Aloha.
MSS, I'll be in
And
touch.
Aloha.
Well, me and you will stop at Polecats, pick up Johnny, and then we'll
There
head
you go.
Hell
Oh, yeah.
yes. Loaf, what's the stupidest thing you read all week this week?
Well, boys, you know, this goes back a little bit, but there's a casino in Vegas called the Fontainebleau, and it's the project was going on for years and years. It's about a 20-year project. Finally opened up on December 13th, and actually, Teresi and I and Quernsey and Mrs. Beef had a chance to go to the property on December 16th. So like it's open 4 days or whatever. Teresi, how would you explain our experience at the Fontainebleau when we went there for dinner that night?
So we walk in, and it's, well, first of all, we take an Uber, right?
It's way the fuck down the strip. It's on the north end, like across
Yeah,
the street
'cause-
from Circus, basically.
Because we were like, what's the walk here? Like from our hotel, and it was like 50 minutes. I was like, how the fuck is it 50 minutes? And we took an Uber, and it was like, this is actually very far.
Yeah.
And so we get there, and we were in a cab. Because we got to the cab line.
we had a cab.
And the best was, so we get there.
We skipped the cab line because I got the diamond card. That's right.
And there's a sign
Elitist.
to split. There's a sign to split the traffic, and it says valet one way and parking the other way. There's no mention of cab or rideshare anywhere. And our cab driver's like, "What the fuck is this?" And there's a person out there like directing, and they're like pointing, and they point him over, and he just rolls down his window. He goes, "I love your signs." And then just rolls up, drops us off. We walk in, and it was like new car smell, new casino smell, like when you walk in, and you're like, "Oh, baby, it's only been open like 2 days," and we had heard, "Hey, they're gonna match whatever level you are at your current, like whatever casino you usually go to, the card that you have, they're gonna match that level." So we went over there, and me and Beef got a little bit elevated, you know,
We
at
got
some places.
some status in some places.
So we went over, and they're like, "We're only doing that the first night." And we're like, "What the fuck
they were
is
like,
this?
"Fuck you guys."
What the fuck is this?" Because like, you
Enjoy
would
your
think, like, they
$5
would
of free
want-
play.
They would want to find out who all the people who do
like to gamble
will
a lot.
spend a lot. Like you would want them, right? Like they fucked that up. So we're like, okay, whatever. We didn't give a shit. So we go to the bar. They got nothing. Like they're out of everything.
I'd say we tried to order a bunch of different drinks.
Quincy
They're out of this,
Quincy
they're out of
ordered
that. They can't, we don't have
15
that.
Quincy ordered 15 fucking drinks before she's like, just
Give me anything.
Prosecco.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have Prosecco? And they're
Open
like,
a bottle of white wine, please.
and they're like, we have one flat bottle left of that. So here's that's it. And so we're just having some cocktails or whatever, and it's fine. And then we go to dinner. And first of all, like the service was fucking terrible.
Awful.
But
the worst service I've ever had in a restaurant.
But also the drinks sucked. It was like we did a twist on a mojito, you know how mojitos are good? We made it bad. Like that was basically every drink that they had. Like it was like, do you like old fashions? Because we have a worse version of an old fashioned that we would like you to have. There's one gigantic chili pepper in it, so it's just disgusting. And like that was the whole
MSS.
menu.
They were having the craft cocktails, and so that was going on. Mrs. Beef and I were just having white wine, and we kept asking for refills. Eventually, Mrs. Beef is like, I'm just going up to the bar. And she went up to the bar and got a refill fucking instantly. And well, I got an empty glass there waiting. It's like,
man.
MSS,
they couldn't even fill a glass of wine. Like, the bottles are open already, motherfucker. Just put some. Because she was just making a point. She was having some fun with it, you know?
Same moment. Mrs. Beef and I order drinks. I order a specialty cocktail off of their menu. She orders a refill of the wine she's been drinking. 15 fucking minutes after I got my drink, she still had nothing.
Oh my God.
It was unreal.
That's a disaster. Now, these things happen on the first weekend. However, trouble has continued with this casino. I saw a Las Vegas Review-Journal article. 2 more executives have quit there. So they've had 3 executives quit since the time that we stepped foot through that casino, Treasy, in the first like kind of month and a half that it's been open. But the kicker is, they've been getting all this bad press, and then all of a sudden this picture surfaces on the internet. And for those who are on the podcast feed, I'm putting up a picture of what you would not identify as nachos, but is in fact nachos. It looks like 6 fucking chips in total, with maybe some cheese draped over them.
They weren't like potato skin on these.
They do.
nachos.
They do. They do look like potato skins. This was $24 in their sports book. So someone tweets out, hey, this cost me $24 in the Fontainebleau Sportsbook. And there's been all kinds of crazy claims about what it costs to get a table in their
sportsbook. One hour wait to get that food.
That's correct. 1 hour wait to get these nachos, right? So this is like the worst. Like this is like White Sox Dave's. This is White Sox Dave's steak picture, right? Except for real. This was a real dish. They were like, yeah, this is our best effort or whatever. So it didn't take long. It was less than like 10 hours. The other Vegas casinos start hurling bombs at them. So here's the 4 queens putting average nachos, a healing plate of pulled pork nachos. Will only set you back $12.99 at Wano Taco inside 4 queens. And obviously you can see this. This is a pulled pork taco. There's so much fucking pulled pork on here for $13. Hashtag nacho.
That makes me
game.
want to shit my pants just looking at it though.
Oyo Hotel Casino, which was the old Hooters.
Hooters, yeah.
50 plus chips in every order of Hooters nachos for just $17.99. Right there piling on. The Plaza, which is a great low roller spot, Tracy and I, a long time spot. It says it's Nacho Average Bowl. It's the Super Bowl, and it's a gigantic tin of nachos, just like toppings, everything flowing up to the top. And then finally, to top this all off, is Circa, big game, bigger portions of nachos, and that is just like a tray of nachos. That's like a ginormous amount of fucking nachos there. So this was called Nacho Gate on Twitter, and these things were going viral. People were retweeting the shit out of these, and so Fontainebleau did the only thing that they could possibly do in this situation. I actually love them for this shit. They just leaned into it. They put the graphic up on Twitter. Boring. All our top executives quit. Fun. Hashtag Nachogate. And then someone reported back yesterday that they had finally improved their nacho game. And there's like a reasonable plate of nachos. Not as good as the other ones you saw, but not as terrible as the bad nachos. So Nachogate is my story for today. That's how it can go in Vegas. These things are fucking cutthroat.
Man.
You know what's funny, Beef? All of those places are downtown, right? Those are all downtown casinos that went at them. And normally I'd be like, well, you know, you're talking downtown versus the Strip and like, but not really. This hotel is not that far from downtown.
Right. It's pretty close. Yeah.
Like it's closer to these casinos than it is to Mandalay Bay.
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
It's way to the north end of the Strip. And so good. Circa should be motherfucking them because Circa's like the other new kid on the block.
Yep.
And like they're downtown, but that place is awesome. I love that place.
I mean, a lot of the Vegas. Sorry, MSS. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I was a little upset that some of them did not put the prices on there though. Like if you're gonna motherfuck somebody, I mean, put the prices on there. You know, because like
I can guarantee the one at Plaza was $4.99.
Yeah, I'm sure it was cheap. Yeah.
Like then show it, you know, like and then with Cirque too, it's like I see that and I go, hey, that looks okay. You know, the salsa looked kind of just like out of a jar, but but I also don't want to pay $24.99 for those nachos. You know what I'm saying? Like, not interested. Not enough sell for me.
But yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, like, just embarrassing. And like, I'm honestly worried about that place because it just opened. Might be like grand opening, grand closing.
You'd like to think they learned, but they're learning a little slow. Like, at least they did come back. They came over the top with this shit, but like, okay, that's good, but you actually have to improve everything. Like, you have to make people want to come to your fucking joint, you know?
And they don't even know who they want to get because they didn't do the cards right.
That's true. Yeah.
They could have been like, well, you know what? We're going to send out some great offers to all these people. You don't know who they are. Yeah. You fucked that up too.
100%.
We want
MSS. What's the stupidest shit you saw on the internet this week?
All right, boys. We're ready to spill some tea. If you've been on the internet at least this last week, you notice that maybe I was involved in some conversations with some people. Maybe there was some discussions being had, subtweets, a lot of different stuff happening, and it was just fun. Oh, we lost beef already.
He's just going to take a shit. He ate too many nachos.
He's gonna go drop sticks. So, if you're not familiar with what's happening, it all started with a not so innocent tweet from the White Sox Twitter Future Sox mob boss James Fox, asking if our guy Brooks was commenting about how he looked eating or crying when we were at our lunch meeting at Lawrence's that I posted my picture of about losing Monaco, which is not a very nice thing to say. This is the tweet. It says, did he make any comments about how you looked while eating? Start crying over the loss of Mike Monaco? And I went kind of right back at him and asked him, don't you have a source to tell you what's going on in these conversations and can tell you you're an inside man? Maybe you had an inside man from the lunch.
What we were talking about.
Tell me. You know, he's like, I was trying to use you as the source because his source is probably no longer with the team. So, you know, who knows? Maybe he's just trying to scoop. So that started it. And I was kind of getting back and forth with him a little bit joyfully. You know, we're just ribbing each other. I feel like he wasn't being mean to me. He was just being like kind of cruel to a guy that I like. And then like one of our guy Baseball John responds to him and he's about the Sox are idiots, like because they don't see that Jason is the best thing to ever walk the earth. And Baseball John says, how so? He says, no employer purposely hires someone who doesn't want to be there. From the day JB started, his sites were elsewhere, which is fine. But it's not crazy for the Sox to hire a broadcaster who actually broadcasts the games. Now, Baseball John throws this in there. And I'm thinking, okay, there are some people out there. Because I've had some thoughts about Jason Benetti's leaving and a lot of the things that have happened surrounding this. And people have said a lot of stuff, but it's really hard to bring the stuff up because when you bring it up, you look like a pariah and people are very angry at you.
They get emotional.
You're starting to question something that maybe they don't want tarnished. And it's like, I know there's some haters out there. There's definitely at least one and he runs the White Sox, but there's more people out there that also are not really into Jason's shit. Just like Hawk had a bunch of people that loved him, Hawk had an overwhelming amount of people that hated him too. And I think that if you're in that regard, if you're doing it that way, you're doing it right. So I think that Jason was fine. So John says that. Fox comes back with this and he says their broadcaster being asked to do other stuff is a good thing for their brand. They think otherwise. They're idiots, though. And that, to me, is the crux, okay? And that's something that, like, I have thought long and hard about. We have talked about it within ourselves in internal, discussions. And we're like, okay, I don't know how Jason Benetti being involved outside of the booth with college basketball, college football, NFL, whatever, helps the Sox brand. So James, was not unique in the statement. And I feel like many people believe that. And many folks have tweeted that. And then we've talked about it. And I'll say that I understand. And I think people don't know this. I understand how it looks cool. Yes, it is nice to have your broadcaster doing other things, right? And being out amongst the people. And you're like, hey, that's our announcer. Yeah, he's calling the Illini game tonight. That's awesome. Illini Northwestern. Now, I don't think there's many people coming for the Illinois Northwestern game going, you know what? I'm going to be a Sox fan now because Jason Benetti's so damn good. I'm going to go running right over there and start watching that. So my basis on building the brand or helping the brand is bringing money to it and making it more making it bigger, right? Like is money-wise. Because, folks, the Chicago White Sox, no matter how much you feel about them, are not a startup. They are a worldwide brand right now, and they're all over the place. You know, people were saying, well, you know, he's preaching this stuff out there. Yeah, so did Ice Cube 25 years ago. So did Dr. Dre. You know, so did Eazy-E. I mean, like, a lot of these guys, like the White Sox hat is probably the third most popular hat in the whole MLB. And so, like, the brand is there. But what we're focusing on here is making money and also retaining the people that, you know, you want to come and listen to your games. And I feel when he's not there and he's doing something else, he's not really helping the brand. Now, I don't want to sell on-air talent any short at all. Longtime 108 guy. Only guy I know personally that has been asked to leave Beta Brow because he has been overserved. Our guy Nick from the UK literally became a White Sox fan and learned baseball by listening to Hawk Harrelson broadcast games over in Europe, right? So imagine little Nick tunes in to listen to the White Sox game. Motherfucking Hawk Harrelson's not calling the game. He's doing the senior PGA tour, and fucking Nick doesn't fall in love with fucking White Sox baseball because Hawk Harrelson is off doing something else. Fucking tragic. Hurts our brand, hurts one of our big supporters and one of the biggest supporters of the White Sox and Hawk Harrelson from like across there. And that really hurt. So James makes that tweet and I sit on it because I'm like, dude, you don't want to go down this road because you're going to have a lot of people that love Jason Benetti. They're going to come out the woodwork and just throw shit at you. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm into that.
And you love Jason Benetti. You also love Jason Benetti, MSS. That's the thing here.
Well, that's the thing. All three of us
we do.
We're big fans
yes.
of Jason Benetti.
I love him personally, and I love him professionally. I thought he was good at what he does. And I also think that he was really good at being a person engaging people. And that was one thing that I hope John does too, is to continue to engage people on Twitter and play with Twitter people. Cause I thought that was great. Like he was fun like that. And he was good. You know, he was good. And so professionally and personally, I like Jason Benetti a lot. I think he did a lot for us, like putting our names out there, you know, helping build our brand because we are a startup or we're a startup. I don't mean probably still are. But yeah, so this is like, so I like him. So I sit on it and then I say, you know what? Yeah, fuck this. You know what? I'm going to tweet it. I'm going to see how it goes and to see, one of my fucking graphics is gone. You know, maybe it's not. Let's see. Nope. It's missing. So anyway, the first tweet that I throw out there is I've seen a lot of people tweet this and it's Jason and it's James Fox saying, you know, it's good for the brand. I go, I want to know how Jason Benetti not being in the booth is good for our brand. And I tweeted out there and find, you know, it starts off really good. Our guy, TS Peeps is like spot on. You're not missing anything. Jason announcing everything under the sun did nothing for the White Sox. I'm like, okay, we're going good. And then we got number 5 and it's like, this other guy, LJM. It isn't good for the Sox. Jason Benetti is a talented announcer, but to be real, he's best at basketball and football before baseball. Baseball is his third best sport. He doesn't have any feeling for calling big baseball moments in games. Him and Sony had a good relationship, but he's got like the guy throwing his hands up, right? So, and some fans even express how it would hurt the brand when he wasn't there. And this is my guy, Aaron Flora. And he says, say the Tigers are in a pennant race in September. Fans are waiting for every game on pins and needles. Meanwhile, Jason is off doing a Florida versus Utah football game. As a fan, I don't want to listen to Gordon Beckham in that situation. It's just off-putting. So, okay.
It wouldn't be Gordo because he's not play-by-play, but we get the idea.
Correct. Yeah. Right. And Mr. Fox did go right back at that guy and say, people say this all the time. He never did that. You idiots don't understand what's going on. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, Len Casper, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So
whatever the Tigers have in reserve, which is nothing. So,
so many,
which is the guy getting
the guys that were
shit
fighting
beat
each
out.
other. The guys are fighting
and that's
each other.
the thing, right? He said Detroit, like he didn't say the Sox.
The Sox,
so like,
right,
I mean, we know what he's saying. It's fine, whatever. People do drugs. I'm fine with it. Tweet all the
Just let
time.
it go. It's the internet. Just let it go.
They just found
Exactly.
that pill in the tip
Not
jar.
serious.
It's not their fault.
Exactly. He found it on the floor of the van, and he's shitting his pants. But he's also high as hell, so it's great.
It's a big win.
So, but many people came out to share why they thought it was good for the brand. And this is number 7 here. And he says, Patrick Rutherford says, because if your guy is doing national broadcast, he is good. If no one else wants him, he is probably not. And I say, I agree. But when he's not doing your broadcast, is that good too? Because that's the question here. And Patrick says, I think you still have the cachet of having the top guy as your main announcer. The 20% around, or estimated 20% of games he missed might have your top. I don't know what he's trying to say here. You might not have your top team, but it's still relatively small for it to have a large impact.
20%'s big.
It is,
So
yeah,
this
pretty
is
substantial,
this is another thing I was going to say. Yes, 20% is kind of big, right? And there was people saying I can only tune in on the weekends in the fall because I'm doing other shit during the week, and he was never on a call because he's out doing something else. Okay, I get it. But if he has that less of an impact, or it's not that big of an impact that he's gone, is it that big of an impact when he's there? I don't know, right? Like, because, I mean, is he bringing people in? So we saw, because I did some research, the White Sox led the MLB last year in lack of ratings. Their ratings went down 41% last year. 41%. And the next
101
closest
lost team will do that for you.
Yeah,
right. Right. So we're going into the next part. Our friend Tyler, the region rat, joined in and jumped right in here, and he goes in and he says, oh, nope, not that one. That's 7. Jason is a broadcaster who brings in people because they know him from other things and enjoy his broadcasting. That's really rare, but it's true. I bet non-Sox fans had a higher than not, rivals excluded, opinion of the team because of Jason. What that matters, hard to quantify.
It's really hard to quantify bullshit, and that's what that was. That's think about what you're saying. Think about what you're saying here. You're saying that you watch The Price is Right all the time, right?
Right.
Like back in the day, back when we were kids, right? You watch it all the time, and Roddy is now the announcer. Like he's for some other show, and you're like, can't miss that show.
Gotta get over there. That's Roddy. Yeah, exactly.
No, you're not. This is the play-by-play guy's not the show. The game's the show. Right? Like you're not fucking traveling around to see the guy who emceed for the band that you like. Right? Like the guy that announced the band to come out. You're not going well, who is he going to announce next? I'm going to go check that shit out. So I don't get this train of thought.
Are you going to the fight to see Bruce Buffer? Or are you going to fight to see Mike Tyson? Right? Like Bruce Buffer.
The Buffers are pretty good. I
like
really
Michael
good,
Buffer.
but yeah,
really good.
I like the Buffers.
But he's also the cherry on top of that sundae. The Sunday is the event,
the fight,
and what you're actually seeing. So I understand how he helps, but I don't necessarily understand all of what Tyler said there. Now, he also then goes into, I said, what will be interesting is one, how many Sox fans will now be watching the Tiger games because he's that good that you just have to watch him. So we're definitely going to have a ton of Sox fans listening to the Tigers broadcast. And 2, if the Tigers suck and the ratings go up, team wins to me are the only game changers. Other things that are quick fixes and they just get old. So we're going to have a new announcer. We're going to have this. And so people tune in at the beginning, but if the team sucks, as we have watched, the ratings will go down. Tyler responds with, I think it's pretty disingenuous to say that wins are the only game changers. If that was the case, teams just wouldn't spend any resources towards anything else. And I'll say many of them don't. I'd argue the biggest and probably the majority is for W's, but only for TV viewership, not for attendance.
Is Jason announcing at the game?
He was trying to disagree with you while agreeing completely with exactly what you said.
So Here's the deal, folks. If the team has a 101 loss season, you're not going to bring people through the doors. That's just
or
what's
watching
happen.
on TV.
And you're not gonna, you're definitely not listening to Jason Benetti. So ratings went down, attendance went down. Okay, the vocal cords of gold that were in our booth did not save either thing. Okay, because the team sucked. If the team wins, no one gives two fucks about anything. They don't care about getting into the park, getting out of the park. That's part of the fucking experience. That's what you're going to have to deal with to see a winning fucking team. When it's not winning, you're going to bitch about every goddamn thing. We've seen everything get bitched at because the team fucking sucks. And that's just the way it is. So we get into it a little more.
Let me hit a couple comments here. Steve says,
we got drink too.
He said,
okay.
To be honest, I'm there for Buffer. And so, Buffer is a strong one. You did pick about the strongest one you could MSS for that analogy.
I understand that.
And then Tadahito says, do you go to a Sox game to hear Gene Honda? Absolutely fucking not. No.
And then
we got a drink.
Drinks,
we got a drink from Daniel Pierce. He says, Hawk was great. Jason was great. Either way, Jerry is small for making it all about himself. If we can agree on that, then we can go fuck ourselves. Yeah. I mean, Daniel, I agree with you. I agree. That's the thing.
That was something that came out too. Is a lot of like,
and I think we all do agree on that, right? We all agree on that.
I think so.
Like at the end of the day, like we love Jason, and Jason could have been kept if you pay him a little bit more, and if you're flexible about how much he has to be here, right? Those two things. Yep. If you do, he's still here, right? Yep. And if you want to blame Jerry for that, you certainly can.
In theory, I'll say in theory, Treasy. Who knows for sure. If he didn't just want to leave because he wanted to leave. But
for sure.
In theory, yes.
For sure. But like I've seen a lot of people go, man, fuck this place. And they're like, you want some more money? And they're like, I love this place.
I would say.
I think Jason's a little preemptive here. I think in the next ownership regime, we'll get like what the guy's got in LA. He's going to be 90 games on and 90 games, or 70 games off. And I can see that happening. I can see that happening with really good fucking announcers. They're going to have other things going on. Now, the last thing with Tyler, and we were talking about like, the wins being important for this stuff. He goes, oh, yeah, the Rockies, because they have really good attendance. And he said, I didn't use the Padres either as like, not having field success and having good attendance. You can win and have a terrible ballpark experience or lose and have a great ballpark experience. Not stadium experience, but you can't be bad at both, which the Sox are. Now, using the Padres to me was a little offensive because I responded with that with saying Padres spent their asses off to get people there trying to win. Yep. And of course, there's outliers. Last year, I think third highest attendance in the MLB, or it was at least top 5, was St. Louis. And the St. Louis Cardinals sucked ass. I wrote, terrible, sure, yeah. St. Louis is a total outlier of this thing. And they sold the shit out of fucking tickets because they have a very good fan base, and
they got a good regional marketplace there that they've captured,
and they don't suck that much, right? Like
usually
this
good.
This was an off year, and so people are like, you know what? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm still going to show up, but you know what? You can't give the team a benefit of the doubt for the last 19 years. Right? I get it. Like you're just gonna be like, at some point, you're like, I can't do this. So anyway, that was me and Region Rat, and then. Things
we got more.
Oh yeah,
there's plenty more.
Oh my god,
things started to get weird. Now we're getting into the weird territory, and this was the first one from our friend from the Asscast, Stoop Kid, and he says, yes, having an announcer who is widely considered to be one of the best in the industry is good for the brand. Which I responded to, how? That's what we're talking about. He says, how? You're asking how having a nationally renowned broadcaster is a good thing for your franchise? And I said, I'm asking how having a nationally renowned broadcaster doing a football game in September is a good thing for the franchise. Yes. So I was being very specific. This was a very specific question because they're saying having him do other things, not being in the band, not being in their booth is good for their brand. I say, how is that? Show me that. And I was responded to this. I think if you want your company to be taken seriously, having a nationally recognizable broadcaster representing your company is a good way to accomplish that. I say, I can see that point, sure. However, the Sox aren't a startup. They have a pretty big brand already, and Jason benefited from that on his way to becoming a nationally recognized broadcaster. I don't think him in another booth instead of a Sox booth. Is that helpful? Now, that's just what I think. I mean, you guys have kind of shared the same, kind of.
Do you think they could be helpful?
I think they could, but not in any way anyone's answered. No one's really answered the question here. I got a couple random thoughts before MSS continues on the tweet thread.
This is the last one.
50 more minutes out of MSS, and then you can talk.
This is the last one.
Okay,
so the response to my well thought out response was, it's okay to be wrong.
He gave up. He threw in the white flag.
So
he white flagged and he's like, I don't have an answer. Oh, there you go.
He's like, it's okay to be wrong, and which is something that people do at a point where they're kind of done, and then I'm kind of done with it too, because if you're not going to coherently respond to me and say, okay, well, I guess maybe we're not going to agree. Yes, it's definitely.
He gave you
if
a be well.
Agree with things. That's fine. But I don't think he did. He didn't say you be well. He said you're wrong. Fuck you. Kind of.
No, the be well is I ignore you for the rest of your life.
Is it the same?
No. The be well is I ignore you for the rest of your life. Like that. Okay. That was I put on a pay no mind for the rest of your life.
That kind of didn't happen because he then subtweeted with the whole guy asks question, guy gets answers, guy still is like, why don't you guys answer my question? Which okay, from one content creator to another content creator, don't subtweet. You shouldn't be afraid of me. I'm not afraid of you. I wasn't going at people. I wasn't yelling at people, calling them stupid, saying that you were wrong. I wasn't saying any of that stuff. I was listening to your opinion. I was giving back my opinion and was trying to create a discussion. Our guy, Bennett Carroll, was like, I don't want to be involved. Obviously, no one's going to change your mind, kind of deal. I respect that. But also, we can't be afraid to have a conversation and kind of question the way that we're thinking about something, which is like, one of those things that I just think is important. We're moving away from, I don't want to be offensive, but yet you don't want to be offensive, but then you just tell me that I'm wrong. Like, and it's an opinion-based thing. It's not something
MSS tried to do Twitter 1.0 with Twitter 2.0, where everyone, if they don't agree with you, just says you're ignorant, you're dangerous, you're a loser, whatever, because they just give up on trying to figure out what the argument is. And that's kind of what happened here when I was looking at it. I was like, no one really and I was waiting with bated breath too, MSS, because I was like, I want to hear a good answer here. A good answer here would like really change my mind on this, because I'm not sure yet. But what could it be?
I'm going to give MSS a piece of advice.
Yeah, go for it.
Get the blue check mark so people just dismiss you immediately. Like, I don't need to hear anymore about this.
And listen, I saw a lot of good responses too, and people said some good things, and they don't fit with my narrative, so I don't put them in these things. But like, I agreed with that, and I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right, but I still don't see this benefiting a big, huge corporation. Like, you're thinking of it in small potatoes. You're like going, oh no, this is great. I'm looking at it because our guy Slater, and I like Slater, but Slater was like, goes, yeah, he's like, man, I don't know if Jason wasn't there. He's like, my possibility of watching the game goes way down. I go, so if he's not in the booth, you won't watch the game? He's like, absolutely. And I was like,
great, you made your argument.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yep,
and like,
that's your
so
point.
he walked right into that, and that was fine. But like, that's the point, and I didn't put it in here because it's too easy.
Steve says invite him on the show.
Invite who on the show?
Steve, I don't want more of this. Have them invite MSS on the show.
Yeah, and that's a thing.
He can go on their show and talk about it. I don't need any more of this.
They brought it up in the beginning of the Asscast last night, and that's fine. But they didn't mention names. They said I was weird for doing it, and it's odd to do this. Okay, great. When I see weird things that are weird, odd, and whatever, I just avoid it. And I say, you know what? I'm not going to get involved with this. Like, this guy's on his own trip. I'm going to let him do his own thing. Now, if you think that was the stupidest thing that I read, it wasn't. Because in part of this conversation in Treasy, this is the end of the goddamn show for me.
Holy shit, thank God.
Got everything done. All right? This was the stupidest comment.
Keep going,
the stupidest thing I read out of this whole discussion. And the stupidest thing I saw all week. And it was from our friend, the Oakland guy, the A's hopium slinger. If the team has a higher national profile, when people know a global talent is in the booth instead of some local schlub. Free agents want to sign with teams with a national profile, and Jason gives you that in a way Beckham or McKnight cannot. I was hands up, and I posted the GIF with a girl going, wow. So Jason Benetti, while he can't bring people in to save our ratings, is bringing in top tier free agents from the booth because he's so good. So I responded to this, and he's like, "No, I'm not saying that. People are just gonna do it. It's just part of it. That's part of it."
Dude, I would love if Cody Bellinger signed with the White Sox tomorrow, and he'd be like, John Schriffen was the piece.
The key to this.
Was the key to me signing.
Like I would, me in, baby.
Or he signs with the Tigers, and he's like, it was Benetti. It was Benetti all along. Benetti.
And that's it. And thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And there we go. And I appreciate everyone that has continued to go through this, and that's fine. But yeah, no, you don't have to subtweet me. You don't need to be afraid of me. I'm not an asshole.
You're not scary.
You can let me write the fucking thing. You don't respect my opinion, and that's fine. And I don't care. But you can still tag me in it, and I'll respond to it. So, but that's my piece. Chorizo, the floor is yours, my friend.
The floor's mine?
Yeah, the end the thing. The end the fucking podcast, bro.
Jesus, I think Beef had stuff to talk about, but that was hours ago.
Yeah, we'll just finish it up. Let's go.
Yeah, more things to talk about.
I think it's time. It's time for thank yous and GFYs. I'll start. I'm just gonna GFY MSS for fucking spending 40 minutes on that. Beef, who are you thinking?
First, I'm going to thank MSS because I enjoyed the hell out of that segment. What's important to note about that is that's how we always are. Like, our minds are curious about stuff, and we dig into things. And really, it's kind of how 108 exploded initially, because we were willing to, like, dig into shit that everyone else wasn't and, like, really question things, and we got on stuff. And so if you're not willing to get in on stuff, I mean, that's your prerogative. But this is just what we do. Like, we're always going to just be doing this. And so, like, when the question was out there, I loved it. And I was, like, waiting for something interesting or good to come through. And nothing really did. It was disappointing that there wasn't, like, a good answer to the question. My second thank you is going to go to Mike Downey, who we had lunch with on Friday, part of the White Sox front office. We had our super secret lunch. However, I want to thank him for the very nice compliment he gave me on the Au Jus podcast. It was really nice of him. He didn't have to say anything about that. That's kind of the side chick of the 108 thing, but he said some nice things about it. So, Mike, I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, and it helps a lot to hear those kind words.
Side chick, hopefully someday be bottom bitch. So
that was very nice. That was very nice of Mike to say, even though he was lying to you. MSS, who are you thinking?
I'm in the same vein. I'm going to thank Kelly from Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp, who just said, I rolled in there a little early. We had some chats. I talked about some advertising stuff. And then she says, hey, want me to get some food started for you guys? And I was like, absolutely. And like, I'm like, I know it's going to take, because it's fresh. You got to fry it up. So I was just like, this is what we need. As soon as our guests walked in, you guys walked in, boom, fresh food right on the table. These guys had never been there before. They're starting to eat it. They're loving it. And we just had a nice 2-hour conversation talking about all the ways that I can continue to be elite and rub it in everybody's face. So that was really good. Treasy, you're a GFYer. Thank yous.
I already GFY'd you, but I will thank everybody who's bought tickets so far for the Ramova show. March 27th. Get your tickets. That QR code actually works. MSS is a G. He got that all set up. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a great show. I just made the intro for this show 2 months ahead. I played it for these guys. They told me they liked it. We'll see how it goes. But I think it's gonna be awesome. But definitely come out to that. Get your tickets now. It is gonna sell out. Like, just getting I got the ticket count back from Ramova today. And yeah, it's going to sell out. So get your tickets as soon as you can. If you want to go. If you don't want to go, you just wait, because it's going to sell out anyways. All right.
Go fuck yourself.
We will talk to everybody soon. And as Beef noted, I will be on the Au Jus on Monday. And we're obviously going to talk some baseball. Hopefully some aliens. We'll see. But if not,
dinosaurs.
You always got my Twitter for that. Everyone, thanks. Have a good night. Talk to you soon.
Good night.